Now, what is it that truly makes a backpacking stove kit the best option for backpacking? Today, I want to focus on stove and pot combinations that really are kind of like that holy grail of cooking options for boiling water and cooking in your pot in the backcountry. So I've got 8 different cook pots and stoves to talk about and to kind of go over the pros and cons of all of these options, and also inexpensive options all the way up to things that are quite expensive, and are they absolutely necessary to spend the money on when you are simply boiling water out there in the backcountry. So we're going to start with the budget item first, and this is the classic Stanley pot with the BRS 3000T style stove. Now, I don't actually own a BRS stove, but this Olicamp Ion stove that I have basically fits the mold for that BRS style of stove. And these 2 pieces as a combination are very inexpensive. You can get this for close to $30 to $40 maximum for a really high quality stainless steel pot. And you've got a locking lid, you've got a nice handle, and when you've got this on your stove, a nice stable base for boiling water and cooking out of this. And it's not an overly heavy option for backpacking. So as a ultimate budget option, the Stanley pot and the BRS style ultralight stove is a quality, just a great starter option for people that don't want to spend a lot of money. The next option that I have found to be really enjoyable. I had this out just on a trip last weekend, and this is the MSR like trail kit that has the Pocket Rocket 2. But this is a classic, kind of a quintessential type of backpacking stove that has been around for a really long time. Now, the Pocket Rocket 2 is obviously an update to the original Pocket Rocket, but this kit is awesome. For under $100, you get the Pocket Rocket 2, which is it's a staple type of product. This has been proven to be a stove that just lasts a really long time. The downside to the Pocket Rocket, given the name, is this sounds like a jet engine. This thing is so loud. But when you are just trying to boil water super quick, the Pocket Rocket 2 is a great option. And then in this kit, so you've got like a measuring cup that you could also use to drink out of, just measure your liquids. You could mix things in here, and it's got graduation lines up to 12 ounces. And then this aluminum pot has also a little pot grabber that allows you to hold on and grab the pot. But this pot has a little rubber ring around it that allows you to pretty easily hold on to the pot and not burn your fingers when you're dumping the boiling water into your freeze-dried or dehydrated meal bag. And I don't necessarily think that this would be the best option because it's pretty small in capacity for cooking in it itself, like noodles, pasta, rice, and that kind of thing. But for simply boiling water and preparing like coffee or anything, you could easily do a pour over drip coffee into this, and it would be a great option. The next option that we'll talk about moves into some titanium. So Snow Peak. Snow Peak is a very well-known, super high-quality company that makes really great products that are focused on being lightweight, but they're massively durable and they're just very proven. So the stove that we're talking about is the LITEMAX stove, which is very lightweight, super small, and accommodates small pots and things very easy, but you've got these little arms that fold out that make it easier to handle larger pots and just keep things more stable. This is going to suffer a bit more from wind blowing against and blowing out the flames. So this is not going to be as wind resistant as you might get from the Pocket Rocket 2 here with the way that that is built, but it's still a highly efficient, just a great stove option. And paired with the Trek 700 titanium pot, the benefit to this is I can stick my stove down inside of there, as well as my fuel canister. So I can have everything contained in the one pot, and the 700 milliliter capacity allows for over 2 cups of capacity for you to rehydrate those Mountain House meals and such. But overall, this is just a super high quality option. Ergonomic handles here. The downside to that is a lot of the stoves that you use with this, the flame is going to come out around the edges, and you will have it get nice and hot on here. So you'd want to have some kind of like pot grabber or something that's going to keep you from getting burned. But you also have graduation lines on the inside of the pot. So really enjoy the Snow Peak Truck 700 with the LITEMAX stove. Now when it comes to choosing a pot and stove for your backpacking, it's nice to be able to choose from a bunch of different options. And backcountry.com is a solid option for being able to see all of the different variations of pot and stove combinations that you can put together for your particular needs. And backcountry.com is the sponsor of today's video. If you are looking to upgrade or change out your stove system, I recommend jumping on backcountry.com to see all of the options that they've got available. Majority of what we're talking about today is available from Backcountry, and I can even save you a little bit of money if you use my coupon code exposure15, which will give you 15% off your order. Some exclusions do apply with that, but if you're trying to also decide what makes the most sense for you or what works best within your budget, jump on a chat with their gearheads. Those gearheads are going to be able to help you figure out exactly what makes the most sense for you. They are a huge help, and highly recommend using that free resource from Backcountry to help you decide on better gear for your backpacking needs.
Since everybody cares about what Dan Becker uses for his backpacking gear, Dan, tell me about your favorite or your go-to cook system and why. Also, you have a bug on your shirt.
Well, this is one of my favorites right here. This is the 750 mil TOAKS titanium pot, and then I got the Pocket Rocket Deluxe, which is probably my favorite stove right now.
Why?
Because it's got the igniter built in, it's quiet, it does really good in wind, and it compacts small enough that it fits in that setup really well. Like I have a SOTO.
I was just gonna say, is that why you like it better than the WINDMASTER?
Yeah, the WINDMASTER. The WINDMASTER is really good. It's probably just as good. It might even be a little more efficient, but the WINDMASTER isn't as compact, I feel like.
Why the 700, not the 550?
The 700 is bigger, so it'll fit the gas canister and the stove.
I see.
So that's why. And then what I'm eating, a little creamy Tuscan chicken by Pinnacle Foods.
Let's keep talking about the next stove kit, which is the Jetboil Zip. This is pretty much the introduction to getting a all-in-one stove kit that is meant to boil water super fast. And the Jetboil Zip, solid option that is pretty inexpensive. Now it's kind of like the lower end model, so it's lower capacity, doesn't have all of the features and such that maybe the MINIMO, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But it is an all-in-one type of system. So you've got your lid, you've got your stove, and then you've got a little cup on the bottom that also allows you for being able to measure and such. But being so like dark and not really see-through, it's hard to see the exact like measurement lines on here. You guys have seen Jetboils before. You know how they work. They're super efficient in getting water to boil as quickly as possible. And you've got all of the components necessary to make it very stable. So you've got this like stand that goes on your canister that makes it so things stay nice and stable and you don't end up dumping things over. The Zip is less than a liter in capacity, but it's a great option for something that is like an all-in-one type of system that's not maybe as modular as being able to use like this pot with really any stove that you would like. But the Zip at under $100, you're gonna get very quick boil times, something that is super easy to use, and you've got accessory items that you can use with this, like a French press that if you're doing coffee and such, you can do that straight out of this cup. It's just a great system, and I really like the Jetboils, honestly. As I use them more and more, they're just fantastic. Now moving on to another very simple type of cook system. We won't spend a lot of time on this one, but this is from SOTO. You've got the SOTO WINDMASTER. This is one of my favorite stoves. The only downside for me on this is the size of it. But this SOTO pot, the thermal stack, is a fantastic aluminum pot system. Wanted to quickly point that out as another option, but move on to one of my favorite ultralight type of cook systems, and that is the TOAKS 550 paired with the SOTO AMICUS. So we've got the SOTO WINDMASTER, fantastic stove, but the SOTO AMICUS a bit smaller in size, so it's going to fit into smaller pots, and you've got the pot stands that are built-in, integrated, and you've got a piezo igniter on this. A lot of these other stoves that I've talked about so far don't have a piezo igniter, so you need some kind of lighter way to light the stove, but it's nice to have that igniter for this. And then paired with this TOAKS 550, which is kind of the minimum amount of milliliter capacity that you would want for rehydrating meals, but to go very simple and just very lightweight, the TOAKS 550 is a solid option. Okay, the last two pot and stove kit systems that we're going to talk about is first the Jetboil MINIMO. Now in size comparison to the Zip, the MINIMO is quite a bit larger, but there are some aspects to this that allow for it to be a bit more versatile than you get with the Zip. Simply boiling water out of this versus the MINIMO, you're gonna do a bit more cooking with this. You've got a pretty large cup here that again has graduation lines on it, and then your standard typical type of Jetboil system with this corrugated metal that's gonna make it heat up super fast and boil water super quickly. But the difference on the MINIMO that makes this a really nice versatile option is the fact that your stove has a bit more fun things to it. So pull this out of the bag here. You've got a separate pot stand that would allow you to use a fry pan on here. And because of that, you've got a regulator that is on this stove. The Zip does not have the regulator at all. It's just a super basic type of stove for boiling water. It's not going to have as much simmer control. But this, with the regulator and everything, you've got way more simmer control. You've got a piezo igniter, which is nice to have also. And because of that, you've got the ability to do some more gourmet cooking out of a small system like this. So I really like the option of having an all-in-one type of cook system that allows you to have the option to move through different types of cooking depending on what you are wanting to do. So having this additional pot stand allows you to put a fry pan or something on here, which I've done, and like cooked bacon and eggs and things off of this, and it's a really solid system. The downside for it though is the price. Over $150, and that's a lot to invest on something, but the versatility of it does provide for way more options than just boiling water. The last thing that we're going to talk about is a stove kit that honestly I was pretty hesitant to ever purchase and use, because why would you spend close to $200 for a stove system when all you're really doing is boiling water? And I could go with something as simple as a STANLEY or any of the options here, the Pocket Rocket, and not spend that kind of money. However, in high alpine areas, higher elevation, or places that are super windy, this MSR WINDBURNER is a phenomenal option. And I had this out just last weekend with my kids, and we were boiling and prepping a lot of water for several meals for feeding my wife, myself, and my kids. And with the included cup that's very similar to the cup that's included on this Pocket Rocket kit, that's nice to have. But the way that the wind burner is put together is obviously very similar to the Jetboil. You've got a little pot stand here. You've got your lid that has strainer opportunity. But the build of the stove itself is what sets this apart from all the other options here. This is designed to ward off as much wind as possible and be very efficient in the boil times and the cooking. So you've got a pretty tall system here, a 1 liter pot. You've got the insulated ring around here that's also similar to what you have on your Jetboils. But this thing is so massively efficient and fun to cook with that I think it's one of the best options of a all-in-one kit for something that will be useful across all seasons. I love the wind burner and really, really recommend this as a super high quality option. So if you were to ask me of all of the options that are here on the table, maybe what 2 stove systems would I say are the go-to all-in-one type of kits? And to be honest, I'm kind of going away from some of my favorite pieces, but the go-to is honestly my SOTO AMICUS with my TOAKS 550. That's just been a staple for me. But I absolutely love these 2 MSR products. The MSR like Trail mini kit with the Pocket Rocket 2, super efficient, lightweight, compact, gives you the cup. It's just a really solid option for everything in one system. And then second to that, the MSR wind burner. This is fantastic. And these 2 options, you've got a high quality company that is just producing stuff that is going to last a super long time. So your investment into this is going to be a one-time investment that is going to last you for a really, really long time and many, many days out on the trail. So that is a pretty wide discussion about a lot of different stove and pot options, but hopefully that gives you an idea of kind of what's out there and pros and cons and things to look for in a stove system. If there are any of these stove kits that you would be interested in me doing a dedicated review on, leave a comment down in the comment section and we'll figure out a way to put together a review for you guys on anything of these that you would be interested in. Thanks for watching today. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. Thanks to backcountry.com for sponsoring today's video. Links down in the description for all of these items here.